I want to start by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Chakodash. Yahweh being the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father, Bahasham, meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai, being the Heavenly Father's only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And Chakodash, being the Holy Spirit that speaks to us so that we can divide this word correctly and directly, and we can understand the words that the Lord has given to us through His scriptures. I also want to give double honors to the apostles and others of Great Millstone, and say shalom to the hopeful elect that they're pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, striving their best to do so right in the eyes of the Lord. But you see right here, this is from Telegram on Disclosed TV, the channel called Disclosed TV. And I seen this notification this morning, says Starmer announces mandatory digital ID for the right to work in UK. Starmer announces mandatory digital ID for the right to work in UK. So without this digital ID, you do not have the right to work in the UK. I'm going to play the video.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
And he said it plainly. If you don't have this digital ID, you will not be able to work in the UK. And this is a major step towards Revelations 13 and 16, as the apostles and elders of Great Millstone have been prophesying about for many, many years, right? When the scriptures have spoken on this for thousands of years. A prophecy that we've been waiting for, a prophecy that we could see lots of things being set in order for this to take place, right? And this is a major announcement. I'm going to grab the Revelations 13. This is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right now, this digital ID is not that I already said the word, but that M-A-R-K, right? That charagma, that's how you say it in the Greek. But again, this is a major step towards the charagma, right? Which is a micro, a RFID CHIP that Esau Edom and his system is going to cause the majority of the earth to receive in their right hands or in their foreheads. I'm going to keep reading verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the MARK, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, right? Which is all going into that RFID CHIP. So again, this is just a major step towards these things, right? And these different things taking place in different Western countries, different countries, period. They're going to start taking place here in Babylon the Great, which is America. And this is all steps leading toward that mandatory RFID CHIP. Right, and we are watchmen, showing you what's coming. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the Lord's been letting us know. And again, we just seeing these different things. We seen the prophecy speak, as the precept says. I'm going to grab that real quick. This is Habakkuk 1, Habakkuk 2 and 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon my tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. Right, we made it plain what that MARK is. Right, and it's plain to see. Even people who are not that deep into the scriptures can understand. But we're that watchman we're that watchman, and we letting you know what's about to take place. We making it plain, the prophecies that Yahweh Bashim Al Shai has told us through the scriptures. This CHIP is going to be made mandatory. It's going to start with your phones, and it's going to gradually come to the point where they want to put these different devices inside of people. Esau works by a thing called gradualism. Right? That's why we have different events taking place, like what last took place, that Black Swan event that took place last, that plague that changed the whole way the world operates in a very short amount of time. Right? And it's nothing for Esau Edom to do something like that again. Change the way the whole world operates, and shift people's mentalities to the point where a lot of people are going to accept this CHIP. Esau Edom is going to create some sort of squeeze to push people to get this CHIP. But verse 3 again, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right? And we see the vision speaking. Revelations 13-16. And those that receive that RFID CHIP in their right hand or in their forehead are going to receive the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. They're going to be destroyed. But the elect is going to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in these times, no matter if they can't work. No matter if they can't pay this bill or pay that bill. Matter of fact, I didn't finish Revelations 13-16. And then I'm going to jump to the judgment of those that receive this MARK. Lord willing, the Lord gives us a spirit to endure to the end, to keep our integrity and keep our faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai. But back in Revelations 13-16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the MARK, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. I did finish it, but it said that no man might buy or sell. So you're going to be ostracized from society if you don't take this CHIP. You won't be able to buy or sell. That means you won't be able to pay rent. You won't be able to pay for groceries. You won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do that. But again, in this time, we have to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. We have to keep our integrity, because we don't need Esau Edom and his system in order for us to sustain ourselves. The Lord can sustain us through any situation, as he's done multiple times throughout the scriptures. It's an easy thing for the Lord to take care of us. The Lord's hand is not shortened that he cannot save. So we're building our faith now. This is why we so locked in right now, because we're increasing our faith. We're walking in the Spirit. So when that time comes, we'll be able to do so. And trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But I'm going to jump to Revelation 16. Maybe it's 14. I always get it mixed up. This is Revelations 14. In 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast or his image, and receive his charagma in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Speaking of that nuclear destruction that's going to come upon this earth. Scriptures speak about that day that shall come, that shall burn as an oven. Right? That's via these nuclear missiles. Isaiah 34. Revelation 6 speaks about the nuclear missiles. Right? And the mushroom clouds. Right? The heavens enfolding itself, roughly paraphrasing. 2 Peter 13. Not 2 Peter 13, but 2 Peter 3 speaks about how the elements is going to melt with fervent heat. Right, that's speaking of this nuclear destruction. Zechariah, I'll grab that one. This is Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. That's speaking of that nuclear destruction, right? The people getting hit by that wall of fire, right? It's going to melt their tongues out of their mouth and their eyes out of their sockets while they stand on their feet. And that's going to be a judgment that the people that take this CHIP are going to, that's going to be a judgment that they're going to partake in. Those that's not trusting in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, but trusting Esau, Edom, and his system. That's why it's important to build your faith now. And it's not too late. The Lord still has his hand out of compassion, right? The Lord has his prophets out, letting you know what's going on, letting you know how to please Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. But the majority of our people, they're going to mock, and they're not going to take this seriously until they get destroyed. But the elect, they're going to take it seriously, build their faith, right? Trust in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, and be delivered. That remnant will be delivered. It's prophesied that there will be a remnant that's delivered. Isaiah 10 and 20, as we always go into. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, right, showing you who is going to be delivered. This is the remnant. This is the elect, the same elect that's talked about in Matthew 24. But it says, Matthew 24, around the 30th verse. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped to the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. So we're going to be staying upon Yahweh. We're going to be trusting in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. Right, we're going to be trusting him in truth, right? According to his word, John 17 and 17, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So we're going to be serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Lord willing, I'm a part of that number, in truth until the end. Trusting in the Lord until the end. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness. So there's going to be a remnant that trusts in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, a small number that doesn't bow their knee to the image of Baal, like it speaks about in the scriptures. That trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. They don't serve. It reminds me of the time during the time of Daniel, when they was ordered, when it was mandatory to bow the knee and worship that false idol. But Daniel and his men stood up while everyone around them was bound to that image, bound to that idol. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai showed mercy unto them. It was in the book of Daniel. But this is the same spirit that we have to walk in these times. No matter what's decreed, we serve in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab it because I believe it was either Daniel or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Baba Kasha, bear with me. I'm trying to think of the instruments. I forget what the instruments was called, where he played certain instruments and he told the people to bow to the image. I should know where it's at, but it's slipping my mind. But I'm going to find it, Lord will. This is Daniel 3 and verse 3. It says, then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image of Nebuchadnezzar, right? That deity, that false idol the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all the kind of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. Right, this is a government instructing the people to do something that's completely contrary to the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. The same as this mandatory CHIP that they're going to push throughout the four corners of the earth. It says, the Lord said, we shall not worship other gods. We should not bow down and worship any other gods. That's the first commandment that the Lord gave us after we left the wilderness. The first commandment of the 10 commandments. It says, and that Revelations 13:16 is a commandment that the Lord told us not to do. Or the commandment that the Lord told us to do. Not take that MARK, that RFID CHIP. It says, and whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And it's going to be the same in this time. The multitudes, there's going to be all the people around us is going to take that C-hip. They're going to bow the knee. The scriptures instruct us. It says not to follow a multitude to do evil. We following Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We're keeping our integrity. Lord willing, we endure to the end. Verse 8, wherefore at that certain time the Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said that King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the... Sorry, I'm going to slow down. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews from whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They served not thy gods, nor worshipped the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made, well. But if ye worship not, ye will be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Bro, he was talking shit, bro. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. They didn't have no thought to bow down to that weak-ass image. And it's the same spirit that we got to be in these times. Lord willing, the Lord gives us courageous spirits to endure these different times. It says, if it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. There's nothing too hard for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Right at first, he was like, "You could, if you just do it next time, if you just worship next time, I'll save you." But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego showed what spirit they was in. And again, this is the same spirit that we ought to be in. Nebuchadnezzar got hot. He was mad, but we don't fear men here. We fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, fear not man, which is able to destroy just the body, but fear the Lord that's able to destroy both body and soul in hell. Right? The Lord's able to bring true destruction upon you. Man can't do nothing except he's appointed to do it. By Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Our power controls these powers that's ruling the earth today. So we have to fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. He said, we shall serve the Lord rather than men. In the book of Acts, if I'm not mistaken. It says, therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont to be heated. So he turned up that furnace for them. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Right? And it's the same thing in these times. The scriptures speak about how they're going to be beheading people that don't take this C-hip. They're going to be killing people that don't fall in line. But we got to keep our integrity in that time. Death is not an obstacle for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And he could deliver us out of every situation. Verse 21, then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto the counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire. They was walking in the midst of the fire. And they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High. So Yahushua was with them in the fire. And it's going to be the same with us in these times. Esau can threaten us however he wants. The Lord said, the scriptures say, if the Lord be with us, who can be against us? So we have to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua in these times. Verse 26, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Power, come forth. He was talking to them in the midst of the fire. The Lord made it so that fire had no effect on them. No hurt. In the Apocrypha, it speaks about how that fire was a moist, whistling wind unto them. They didn't have the smell of smoke on them. It says, then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed. Neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the Most High, the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. So he went to talking shit to praising our God after he saw what the Lord could do. He didn't have no power over Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And it's the same with the elect today. The Lord said, my servant shall eat, my servant shall drink. My servant shall eat and my servant shall drink. We got to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua in these times. And again, that digital ID is not the MARK. But Esau deals with something called gradualism, so it shows what time we're in. It says, measure the time diligently in itself. In 2 Ezra 15, we measure the times via the prophecies that's taking place, and we see Revelations 13 and 16 speaking. So we're coming into a time where we have to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and we're not trusting in Esau Edom. We're not leaning upon Egypt. We're leaning upon Yahweh Shem Yahushua, like it speaks about in Isaiah 30. No matter what is decreed from these devils, we have to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Joseph said, as for me and my house, we will serve Joshua, if I'm not mistaken, said, as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. So the elect is going to be in this mentality of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and what they're going to be delivered. These demons ain't going to have no power over them. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is not going to have no power over them. No matter his AI, no matter his this or his that, his witchcraft, none of that is going to come over the elect, overcome the elect. Because we with Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Lord willing, we endure to the end. Lord's will, this video is edifying. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Chakodash. Again, I want to give double honors to the apostles and others of Great Millstone and say shalom to the hopeful elect that they're pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, striving their best to do us right in the eyes of the Lord. Till my next one, shalom.